Admiral Zexterra stood tall on the command bridge of the Dominion's largest warship. His four arms worked quickly across the control panels as he prepared for another easy victory. The view screens showed his massive fleet, 10,000 warships stretching as far as the eye could see. Today they would conquer another world for the Crixian Dominion. "Admiral, we are ready to exit hyperspace near the target planet," said Commander Vex, his second in command. Zexterra nodded. "Excellent. Our scouts report these humans have primitive technology. They barely leave their own atmosphere. This will be a simple conquest." As always, Admiral, the Dominion has never failed. The fleet jumped into normal space near a blue-green planet, Earth, so small and vulnerable against the might of the Crixian forces. Admiral Zexterra felt almost sorry for the humans. Their world would soon belong to the Dominion. "Send the standard message," ordered Zexterra. "Give them 1 hour to surrender." The communications officer sent the ultimatum to Earth. The message was simple: surrender or be destroyed. The Crixians waited, already planning where to build their new bases on the conquered world. 30 minutes later, a response came through. The communications officer looked confused. "Admiral, they sent back a message. It's very short." "What does it say?" "Just 4 words. Come and take it." Laughter spread across the bridge. "Such foolish creatures, these humans. They choose death, then," said Zexterra. "Send in the first wave. 100 ships should be enough to secure their orbital space." Commander Vex looked surprised. "Only 100, Admiral, even for primitives. I won't waste resources. Our scouts report they have less than 10 spacecraft capable of leaving their atmosphere. 100 ships is already overkill." The first wave of Crixian warships moved toward Earth. On the view screens, Zexterra watched as a small group of human vessels rose to meet them. Just as predicted, fewer than 10 ships against 100 Crixian warships. "This will be over quickly," said Commander Vex. "Shall I prepare the ground invasion forces?" But something strange was happening on the screens. The human ships weren't moving in any pattern the Crixians recognized. They split apart, came together, changed direction without warning. "What are they doing?" asked Zexterra. "Their movements make no sense." The first Crixian ship exploded, then another, and another. Somehow the humans were hitting them in weak spots the Crixians didn't know they had. "Impossible," shouted Commander Vex. "They're using Earth's magnetic field to hide their approach vectors. Our targeting systems can't lock on." Admiral Zexterra watched in growing horror as his first wave of ships fell into chaos. The humans weren't fighting like any species they had encountered before. Each human ship fought differently. There was no pattern to analyze, no formation to counter. "Send in reinforcements." 200 more ships, ordered Zexterra. But even as he gave the order, 30 more Crixian warships erupted in flames. The humans were not just resisting. They were winning. 4 hours later, Admiral Zexterra stared at the damage reports in disbelief. Nearly half of his first attack force destroyed or damaged beyond repair. And the humans had lost only 2 ships. "This is impossible," he whispered. "We outnumbered them 100 to 1. How could this happen?" For the first time in his long military career, Admiral Zexterra felt something new and terrible: fear. 6 months earlier, Dr. Eliza Chen sat alone in her small lab, listening to strange sounds from space. As Earth's top xenolinguist, she studied possible alien languages. Tonight, something was different about the signals. "That's not random noise," she whispered, adjusting her equipment. The patterns repeated too perfectly. This was communication, alien communication. The next morning, she showed her findings to Colonel Marcus Wade, a tall man with serious eyes who worked for Earth's military intelligence. "You're telling me you found aliens?" he asked, looking at her data. Dr. Chen nodded. "Yes, and they're talking about Earth. A lot." For weeks, they worked together to understand the alien language. Slowly, the terrible truth became clear. The aliens who called themselves the Crixian Dominion were planning to invade Earth. "We need to warn everyone," said Dr. Chen. Colonel Wade shook his head. "Not yet. If they're coming anyway, let's use this time to study them. Knowledge is our only advantage." Instead of causing panic, world leaders secretly formed the Earth Defense Coalition, EDC. Every country shared their best technology and brightest minds. They had only months to prepare for an enemy they had never seen. Dr. Chen discovered something important about the Crixians. They thought and fought as one mind spread across many bodies. They never acted alone. Their attacks always followed perfect patterns. "That's their weakness," said Colonel Wade during a planning meeting. "They expect us to fight the same way they do. But humans don't work like that." Back in the present, Admiral Zexterra stomped angrily around his command room. The screen showed recordings of the failed attack. "I don't understand," he said to Commander Vex. "Their ships move without any central coordination. Each one fights differently. How can they be effective this way?" Commander Vex studied the recordings. "Perhaps they are using some technology we don't know about." "No," said the Admiral. "It's something else. Look at this human ship here. It sacrificed itself to save 3 others. Then this one changed its entire attack plan when it saw an opportunity. They make decisions individually, in the moment. This was against everything the Crixians believed. In their society, the group was everything. Individual thinking was considered dangerous and inefficient. "We need more ships," decided the Admiral. "If their advantage is unpredictability, then we'll use pure numbers to overwhelm them. Prepare all our forces." Commander Vex looked worried. "All of them?" "Admiral, that's 10,000 warships." "Yes, all of them. I want 100 Crixian ships for every human vessel. They may be unpredictable, but no one can fight those odds." As Zexterra gave his orders, on Earth, Dr. Chen and Colonel Wade were already planning their next move. The Crixians thought numbers would save them. They were wrong. "They're bringing their entire fleet," said Colonel Wade, looking at sensor data. "Just as we hoped." Dr. Chen smiled. "Then Operation Hornet's Nest is ready. Let them come." The trap was set. The Crixians were about to learn another hard lesson about humanity. The Earth Defense Coalition Command Center was buried deep underground. Screens covered the walls showing the positions of all ships in space. Colonel Wade stood in the center, directing humanity's forces. "Begin Operation Hornet's Nest," he ordered. "All ships follow your assigned routes. Remember, hit and run. Don't stay in one place for more than 30 seconds." Around the world, human ships launched from hidden bases. They were fewer than the Crixians, but built for speed and surprise. Each captain had the same orders but could choose how to follow them. In her lab nearby, Dr. Chen and her team listened to Crixian communications. "They're moving their biggest ships to Sector 5, she said into her headset. "It looks like they're trying to surround Earth's moon base." Colonel Wade nodded. "Perfect. That's exactly where we want them." Admiral Zexterra watched from his command ship as 500 Crixian warships moved toward Earth's moon. This time, there would be no mistakes. The humans had a small base there, and he would destroy it completely. "The humans have only 20 ships defending their moon," reported Commander Vex. "Our victory is certain." "Take no chances," said the Admiral. "Fire all weapons as soon as we're in range." The Crixian fleet approached the moon, weapons ready. Strangely, the human ships began to retreat. They were abandoning their base without a fight. "They're running away," laughed Commander Vex. "Perhaps they finally realized they can't win." Admiral Zexterra wasn't so sure. Something isn't right. The humans haven't run from any fight so far. But his warnings came too late. As the Crixian ships surrounded the moon base, the humans were already far away. The Admiral felt a sudden chill. "Scan that base immediately," he shouted. The scan showed energy readings unlike anything they had seen before. The entire moon base was filled with fusion mines, powerful bombs that could destroy dozens of ships at once. "Retreat," screamed the Admiral. "All ships pull back now." But the Crixian ships were too close together. Their perfect formation, which had won them countless battles before, now became their weakness. The first explosion triggered others, and soon the space around the moon lit up like a new sun. When the light faded, 20 Crixian dreadnoughts, their largest and most powerful warships, were destroyed. Hundreds of smaller ships were damaged. Back at the Earth Command Center, Colonel Wade received the news with a grim smile. "The trap worked," he said. "The Crixians lost many ships. But they still have thousands more," said one of his officers. "We can't keep fighting like this forever." "We don't need to," replied the colonel. "We just need to make them doubt themselves." On his damaged command ship, Admiral Zexterra felt the doubt growing within him. The humans fought like no enemy he had ever faced. They used their weakness, small numbers, as a strength, moving quickly and setting traps instead of facing the Crixians directly. "How do you fight an enemy that doesn't play by any rules?" he asked himself. For the first time in his long life as a military commander, Admiral Zexterra had no answer. Dr. Sofia Novak worked quickly in her lab. Around her, dozens of scientists examined pieces of a damaged Crixian ship that Earth forces had captured. As Earth's leading technology expert, Dr. Novak was in charge of understanding alien technology. "Look at this," she said, holding up a small device. "This is part of their weapons system. The way it works is amazing, but I think we can make it better." Colonel Wade raised an eyebrow. "Better? Their technology is hundreds of years ahead of ours." Dr. Novak smiled. "Yes, but they don't innovate like we do. They build everything the same way, over and over. No improvements, no experiments. We can change that." While the humans worked to understand Crixian technology, Admiral Zexterra was trying to understand humans. His best computer experts created programs to predict human battle tactics. "Our models have analyzed all previous human movements," said his chief analyst. "We should now be able to predict what they will do next." "Good," said the Admiral. "Prepare for another attack on their main planet. This time, we'll target their weather control systems. Without those, their cities will suffer natural disasters." The massive Crixian fleet moved toward Earth again. This time, they sent energy beams to destroy the weather satellites that protected Earth's major cities from storms and floods. But something strange happened. As the beams entered Earth's atmosphere, they curved away from their targets, as if pushed by invisible hands. "What's happening?" demanded the Admiral. "It seems the humans have modified their weather control systems," said Commander Vex in disbelief. "They're creating atmospheric disturbances that deflect our energy weapons." Admiral Zexterra slammed his fist on the control panel. "That's impossible. Our intelligence said they couldn't do that." "They couldn't," replied Commander Vex, "until now." On Earth, Dr. Novak watched her modified weather system work perfectly. "It was simple, really," she explained to Colonel Wade. "We just reversed the polarity of the existing systems. Instead of controlling weather, they now create specific patterns that disrupt Crixian targeting." "How did you know it would work?" asked the colonel. "I didn't," said Dr. Novak with a shrug. "But it was worth trying." This was what confused the Crixians most about humans, their willingness to try things that might not work. The Crixian way was to use only proven methods, tested thousands of times. Humans would build something new in a day and use it immediately, making improvements as they went. Admiral Zexterra called for reinforcements from the Dominion's home systems. More ships arrived daily until the Crixian fleet numbered in the thousands. For every human ship, there were now 200 Crixian vessels. "They cannot stand against these numbers," said the Admiral, looking at his massive fleet. "No species could." Yet in battle after battle, the human ships continued to outfight the Crixians. They were smaller and fewer, but they learned from every encounter. Each human ship fought better than the last time. Admiral Zexterra began to wonder if there was something about humans that the Dominion had never encountered before. something that might be more powerful than all their ships combined. Admiral Zexterra's communication screen lit up with the face of Supreme Commander Krez, leader of all Dominion military forces. The Admiral stood at attention, his 4 arms held stiffly at his sides. "Admiral Zexterra," said the Supreme Commander, his voice cold. "Your failure to conquer this primitive planet is unacceptable. The High Command has given you 3 weeks to complete your mission. Succeed or face execution." The screen went dark. The Admiral turned to Commander Vex, who had heard everything. "Prepare all remaining ships," ordered Zexterra. "We will attack their largest military base in a region they call North America. Commit half our fleet. We must show results." "Half the fleet, Admiral?" asked Commander Vex, shocked. "That's over 2,000 ships." "Yes, this time we will not fail." On Earth, Colonel Wade received reports of massive Crixian fleet movements. "They're gathering for something big," he told Dr. Chen and Dr. Novak in the emergency meeting. "Our satellites show thousands of ships forming attack patterns." Dr. Novak smiled. "Perfect timing. Project Blackout is ready." "What's Project Blackout?" asked Colonel Wade. "Something we've been working on for weeks," said Dr. Novak. "We modified our nuclear fusion reactors to create local space-time distortions. They won't destroy Crixian ships. They'll do something much better. They'll temporarily break their hive mind connection." Colonel Wade's eyes widened. "You mean each Crixian will have to think for themselves?" "Exactly," said Dr. Chen. "And based on everything we know about them, they don't know how." The next day, Admiral Zexterra led the massive attack force toward Earth's North American continent. The human defenses seemed weak, with only a few hundred ships rising to meet thousands of Crixian vessels. "This will be our victory," said the Admiral confidently. "Begin the attack." At first, everything went as planned. The Crixian ships pushed forward, overwhelming human defenses with their superior numbers. They broke through the first line of satellites and entered Earth's upper atmosphere. Then Colonel Wade gave the order, "Activate Project Blackout." Across Earth, modified fusion reactors powered up. A strange wave of energy spread through space, invisible but powerful. It washed over the Crixian fleet. Suddenly, every Crixian in the attack force felt something terrifying. Silence in their minds. The constant connection to the hive mind disappeared. For the first time in their lives, they were truly alone in their thoughts. Panic spread through the Crixian fleet. Ships collided with each other. Weapons fired randomly. Some vessels simply stopped moving, their crews unable to function without collective guidance. Admiral Zexterra felt it too. A horrible emptiness where the comforting presence of the hive mind should be. But years of command had given him more experience with independent thought than most Crixians. "Keep fighting," he shouted over the communication system. "Follow your individual training." But it was too late. The human fleet launched a massive counterattack. Their ships moved with perfect coordination, each one acting on individual initiative while working toward a common goal. The Admiral watched in horror as his carefully planned attack collapsed into chaos. Hundreds of Crixian ships exploded or fell from the sky. He barely escaped with his command ship, forced to watch as the greatest Dominion attack force ever assembled was destroyed by a much smaller human fleet. The humans had found the Crixians' greatest weakness, and the war would never be the same again. Admiral Zexterra stood in the small, cold room where they kept the human prisoner. After the disastrous battle, his forces had managed to capture a single human scout ship. Its captain, Commander Sarah Hernandez, sat across from him at a metal table. Despite being captured, she showed no fear. "Why do you humans fight so hard?" asked the Admiral. "You must know you cannot win against our numbers." Commander Hernandez looked directly at him with steady eyes. "We fight because we value our freedom. Each human life matters to us. We don't sacrifice individuals the way you do." This confused the Admiral. In Crixian society, individuals existed only to serve the collective. Personal desires meant nothing compared to the needs of all. But that makes no sense, he said. How can you function as a military force if each person matters? Soldiers are meant to be used and replaced when necessary. Commander Hernandez shook her head. That's where you're wrong. We fight hardest when protecting what we love. Our families, our homes, our right to choose our own path. We don't fight as mindless parts of a whole. We fight as individuals who chose to stand together. The Admiral left the interrogation room with her words echoing in his mind. The concept was so alien to him that he struggled to understand it. Meanwhile, on Earth, an important debate was taking place. Dr. Chen had made a critical discovery while studying Crixian biology. Their hive mind has a central communication frequency, she explained to Colonel Wade and other EDC leaders. If we disrupt it permanently instead of temporarily, we could essentially shut down their entire species. One strike could end the war. How many Crixians would it kill? Asked Colonel Wade. Dr. Chen looked down at her notes. Billions. Their entire connected population would be affected. They would lose all ability to function as a society. The room fell silent. Finally, an older general spoke up. That's genocide. We can't do that, even to save ourselves. Colonel Wade paced the room. The Crixians wouldn't hesitate to wipe us out completely. Why should we show mercy? Because we're human, said Dr. Chen quietly. If we destroy an entire species to save ourselves, what exactly are we saving? The debate continued for hours. Some argued that humanity's survival justified any action. Others insisted that certain lines should never be crossed, even in war. This moral struggle would have been impossible for Crixians to understand. In their hive mind, decisions were made for the good of the collective without questioning. The concept of ethical limits on warfare did not exist in their culture. Back on his command ship, Admiral Zex Terra reviewed recordings of human battles. He noticed something strange. Humans fought hardest when protecting others, not themselves. They risked their lives to save their comrades. They made choices that seemed irrational from a purely tactical perspective. They value individuals, he muttered to himself. That's why our numerical advantage doesn't work against them. They don't think like us at all. For the first time, Admiral Zex Terra began to wonder if the Dominion had made a terrible mistake in attacking Earth. Perhaps these humans possessed something more powerful than any weapon. Strength the Crixians had never imagined possible. Colonel Wade stood before the gathered captains of Earth's fleet. The large screen behind him showed the positions of the remaining Crixian ships. Today, we stop defending and start attacking, he announced. Dr. Novak and her team have developed new technology that will give us an edge. We're calling it quantum ghost technology. Dr. Novak stepped forward. This device creates multiple sensor images of each ship. The Crixians will see hundreds of human vessels when there are only a few. They won't know which targets are real and which are fake. The captains exchanged excited looks. For the first time since the war began, humanity would take the fight to the enemy. On his command ship, Admiral Zex Terra was reviewing battle plans when Commander Vex burst onto the bridge. Admiral, human ships approaching from all directions, he shouted. The Admiral rushed to the main view screen. What he saw made his blood freeze. Thousands of human ships surrounded his fleet, appearing out of nowhere. That's impossible, he whispered. They don't have that many vessels. Our sensors confirm over 3,000 human ships, said Commander Vex. They'd been hiding their true numbers. Open fire, ordered the Admiral. Target the largest concentrations first. The Crixian fleet fired their weapons at the approaching human armada. Energy beams and missiles streaked through space. But something strange happened. Many shots passed right through the human ships without causing damage. What is happening? Demanded the Admiral. I don't understand, said his weapons officer. Some ships take damage, others. It's like they're not really there. Suddenly, Admiral Zex Terra understood. They're creating false sensor readings. Target only ships that return fire or show engine signatures. But it was too late. The confusion had spread through the Crixian fleet. Ships fired randomly, often hitting their own vessels in the chaos. Meanwhile, the real human ships, only a few hundred in total, struck with deadly precision at the most important Crixian command ships. In the middle of this confusion, Colonel Wade led a small team of special forces in a daring mission. Their ship, disguised with Crixian identification codes stolen from captured vessels, approached the Dominion's secondary command ship. "Boarding team ready," reported the colonel over his headset. "Prepare to enter the Crixian vessel." Using the chaos of battle as cover, the human team attached their ship to the Crixian command vessel and cut through its hull. They moved quickly through the alien corridors, facing surprisingly little resistance. The Crixians, confused without clear collective guidance, couldn't organize an effective defense. Colonel Wade and his team reached the ship's central computer core. They quickly downloaded all the information they could find. Complete Dominion battle plans, star charts showing Crixian territory, and technical information about their ships. They also captured several high-ranking Crixian officers who were unable to function effectively as individuals. As the human forces withdrew from the successful raid, Admiral Zexterra realized how badly he had been outmaneuvered. He sent an urgent message to the Dominion homeworld. "Request immediate reinforcements. Humans using unexpected tactics. Our numerical advantage appears ineffective. Situation critical." For the first time in the long history of the Crixian Dominion, a military commander had admitted that superior numbers might not be enough to win a war. Admiral Zexterra stared at the damage reports on his screen. The once mighty Crixian fleet was now reduced to less than half its original size. Worse, the Dominion High Command had sent their response to his request for help. They were sending Grand Admiral Vexkoroth to assess the situation. "The Grand Admiral will arrive tomorrow," said Commander Vex quietly. He has never lost a battle. Admiral Zexterra knew what this meant. The Grand Admiral wasn't coming to help, he was coming to replace him. Unless Zexterra could show some victory soon, he would face execution for his failures. "Prepare all remaining ships," ordered the Admiral. "We will attack the human orbital defense network. We must destroy something important before the Grand Admiral arrives." The Crixian fleet gathered for one more major attack. This time, they targeted Earth's orbital defense stations, the satellites and platforms that protected the planet from bombardment. On Earth, Colonel Wade watched the Crixian movements with concern. "They're getting desperate," he said to Dr. Chen. "Desperate enemies are dangerous." "Should we activate Project Blackout again?" she asked. The colonel shook his head. "They've developed countermeasures. We need to save our best weapons for when they'll be most effective." The battle for the orbital network was brutal. Admiral Zexterra threw everything he had at the human defenses. His ships took heavy losses, but finally broke through at one point, destroying 3 human defense stations. "We've done it," said Commander Vex. "We've created a gap in their defenses." But the victory had cost them dearly. 30 Crixian capital ships destroyed to eliminate just 3 human stations, and the humans were already moving to close the gap with reserve forces. The next day, Grand Admiral Vexkoroth arrived in his massive flagship. He summoned Admiral Zexterra immediately for a briefing. The Grand Admiral was an imposing figure, taller than most Crixians, with darker skin and 6 arms instead of the usual 4, marking his special genetic enhancements. "Explain your failures," demanded Vexkoroth. Admiral Zexterra stood straighter. "The humans don't fight like any species we've encountered before. Our normal tactics don't work against them." "Nonsense," said the Grand Admiral. "Our doctrine of overwhelming force has conquered 57 worlds. This planet is no different." "With respect, Grand Admiral, it is different. We outnumbered them 100 to 1. It didn't matter." The room fell silent. Such a statement was heresy against Dominion military doctrine, which held that superior numbers always prevailed. "Explain yourself," said the Grand Admiral coldly. "The humans fight as individuals working toward common goals. They adapt constantly. They use tactics we've never seen before. They embrace chaos rather than order. Grand Admiral Vexkoroth studied Zexterra with narrowed eyes. "You sound like you admire these primitives." "I respect them as enemies," replied Zexterra. "That is why they have defeated us so far." "They have not defeated us," snapped the Grand Admiral. "They have merely delayed their inevitable destruction. I will show you how a proper Dominion Admiral conquers a world." As Zexterra left the meeting, he realized something had changed within him. For the first time, he wasn't sure the Dominion would win this war, and even more surprising, he wasn't sure they should. Grand Admiral Vexkoroth wasted no time taking command of the Crixian forces. He dismissed Admiral Zexterra's warnings as excuses and immediately began planning a massive attack. "We will attack in 3 groups," he announced to his commanders. "The first will target their northern hemisphere defenses, the second their southern hemisphere, and the third will strike directly at their main command center. The humans cannot defend all positions at once." Admiral Zexterra listened silently. The plan followed traditional Dominion tactics: divide the enemy's forces with multiple attacks, then crush each section with superior numbers. "Grand Admiral," he said carefully, "the humans have countered this strategy before." "Only because you implemented it poorly," snapped Vexkoroth. "Under my command, we will not fail." On Earth, the EDC detected the Crixian fleet movements. Colonel Wade called an emergency meeting with Dr. Chen and Dr. Novak. "They're preparing a 3-pronged attack," he said, showing the alien fleet positions on the large screen. "This time, they're committing everything they have left." Dr. Novak smiled. "Perfect timing. Operation Trojan Horse is ready." "What's the plan?" asked Colonel Wade. "Instead of defending, we'll retreat," explained Dr. Novak. "We'll abandon our defensive positions and let them think they're winning." Dr. Chen continued. "Each position we abandon contains special AI systems. Once the Crixians occupy these positions, the AI will activate and spread through their networks like a virus. It will turn their own automated systems against them." Colonel Wade nodded slowly. "And while they're dealing with that chaos, we'll launch a surprise attack from behind Jupiter's moon," finished Dr. Novak. "We've been hiding a reserve fleet there for weeks." The next day, Grand Admiral Vexkoroth watched with satisfaction as his forces advanced toward Earth. The human defenses seemed to be falling back, abandoning key positions with minimal resistance. "You see, Admiral Zexterra," he said proudly, "the humans realize they cannot win. They retreat before our might." Zexterra said nothing, but he felt uneasy. This was too easy. The Crixian forces quickly occupied the abandoned human positions. Victory seemed certain. Then strange things began to happen. Crixian ships started firing on each other. Communication systems broadcast confusing orders. Life support systems shut down on some vessels. "What is happening?" demanded the Grand Admiral. "Our systems are being attacked from within," reported a panicked officer. "Something in the human positions we captured has infected our networks." Before they could respond, sensors detected a new threat: a human fleet approaching rapidly from behind Jupiter's moon. The gas giant's radiation had hidden them perfectly. "We've been tricked," shouted Vexkoroth. "All ships, defend the flagship." But it was too late. The Crixian fleet, already in chaos from the AI virus, couldn't coordinate a defense. The human ships struck with devastating precision, targeting command vessels first. Grand Admiral Vexkoroth watched in horror as his flagship's systems failed one by one. Through the view screen, he saw human boarding vessels approaching. "Admiral Zexterra," he said quietly, "you were right about them." Zexterra nodded. "Yes, Grand Admiral. The humans' greatest strength isn't their technology or their numbers. It's their individuality, something our species has forgotten. That's why we outnumbered them 100 to 1. And it didn't matter." As the human boarding parties breached the flagship's hull, Vexkoroth finally understood. The Dominion had encountered something they had never expected. A species whose strength came not from unity, but from diversity. 3 months after the decisive battle, Representatives from Earth and the Crixian Dominion gathered in the newly built Peace Hall in New Geneva. The room was large and bright, with windows showing the rebuilt city skyline. At the center table sat Dr. Chen, Colonel Wade, and several Earth leaders. Across from them sat the Crixian delegation, led by a familiar figure, Admiral Zexterra. But he was no longer an admiral. Now he wore the formal robes of a Dominion ambassador, the first ever appointed to deal with the species as equals rather than subjects. "The peace treaty is ready for signing," announced the human chairperson. "This historic document recognizes both our worlds as sovereign and independent." Ambassador Zexterra stepped forward to sign first. His hand hesitated briefly over the paper, not from doubt, but from the weight of the moment. This treaty marked the first time in the Dominion's long history that they had failed to conquer a world they had set out to subdue. After the signing ceremony, Zexterra found himself speaking privately with Dr. Chen and Colonel Wade. "I expected execution when I returned home," he admitted. "Instead, the High Command decided my experience with humans made me valuable. They want to understand you better." "And do you regret attacking Earth?" asked Dr. Chen directly. The former admiral considered the question carefully. "No," he said finally. "Your victory may have saved not just humanity, but the Dominion itself." "What do you mean?" asked Colonel Wade, surprised. "For thousands of years, our hive-mind society has remained the same. We conquer, we grow, but we never truly change or evolve," explained Zexterra. "The encounter with humans has forced us to question our most basic beliefs." He gestured toward the window, where humans of different shapes, sizes, and colors walked through the city streets. "Your strength comes from your differences. Each human thinks differently, yet you work together without losing your individuality. This concept was unimaginable to us before." After Zexterra left, Dr. Chen and Colonel Wade stood by the window, watching the city rebuild. "Do you think they'll really change?" asked the colonel. "Some will," replied Dr. Chen. "Change always starts with individuals who see things differently. Like our friend the ambassador. Across the galaxy, on the Crixian homeworld, the High Command was studying everything they had learned about humans. For the first time, some younger Crixians were asking dangerous questions. What if individuals could think for themselves while still contributing to society? What if diversity made them stronger, not weaker? Back in his temporary quarters on Earth, Ambassador Zexterra prepared his first official report to the Dominion historical records. He chose his words carefully, knowing they would be read by generations to come. "We outnumbered them 100 to 1. It didn't matter. And perhaps, in the grand design of the universe, that was exactly as it should be. Our defeat by humans may mark the beginning of a new and better chapter for the Crixian people, one where we learn that true strength comes not from perfect uniformity, but from the blending of different minds working toward common goals while maintaining their unique perspectives." As he finished writing, Zexterra felt something new, hope for a different future than the one he had always imagined, a future shaped by a lesson taught by the most unexpected of teachers, humanity. *The End*.